Are you a buyer in today's market and you're having to offer over appraised value on your home just to try to get an offer accepted? This market is so crazy right now. We're gonna talk about appraisals today because I got a lot of questions about appraisals. What if they come in short? What do I do? Can we move forward? So we're gonna talk about all different appraisals. Hopefully this can help you understand how to write an offer and help you better understand what you're getting into with a home purchase. So let's hop into the video. All right, in today's video, I've been getting a ton of questions lately about appraisals, and I'm starting to see a lot of appraisals come in short. And a lot of clients are wondering, how do I move forward? Can I move forward? What do I need to do? So I'm just gonna give you a couple of scenarios to think about what we look at from a lending standpoint. Hopefully this can help you decide maybe in your home purchase, are you gonna move forward or how to better structure your offer. So let's just start with a quick example here, and let's just say you're purchasing a home for $400,000. Okay, this is our sales price. Now, as a lender, when we order your appraisal, we need the appraisal to come in at no less than $400,000. But what's happening in today's market is that people are offering above list price, right? So you're offering maybe 405, 410, or you get listing agents and sellers that know that there's limited inventory in their market, so they're pushing the envelope, right? Instead of knowing that, hey, my house can sell for 400, I'm gonna list it for 420 because I'm gonna see who's gonna be willing to pay that, right? So it's kind of like this cat and mouse game of, I got the house, how much you want to pay for it. I know you want to buy my house, so I'm just going to ask and throw a crazy number out there and see who buys it, right? But what we're doing is we're kind of setting ourselves up for failure when we do that. Now, what I've seen on a handful of deals lately, let's say now this home, right, the appraised value is $375,000. So now we have to address the $25,000 difference between our sales price and our appraised value, right? We have to figure out how do we satisfy this number here? Now there's three things that typically take place, right? If you're not addressing this upfront in a counter offer or an addendum or whatever it is. Option number one is the seller can lower the price, right? So the seller can say, you know what? My house isn't worth 400. The appraiser came in and said it's worth 375. I'll take the 375. Let's move forward, call it a day, sell my house and move on. That's obviously the best case scenario. Second option is the buyer comes up in their offer, right? So the buyer could say, I really love this house. To me, it's worth $400,000. So I'm willing to spend an extra $25,000 on top of my down payment, on top of my closing costs in order to purchase this home, okay? Now, we do see that in some instances. Again, you as the buyer need to decide, is this house worth the extra money that I'm gonna come out of pocket with and essentially pay more than what the appraised value came in at, okay? Another option that we see is that the buyer and seller maybe split the difference. Okay, so this difference of 25K, right? The buyer could say, look, I'm willing to pay 12.5, and the seller is willing to pay 12.5. We'll split the difference, we'll call it a day. We can move forward with the transaction, okay? Or in some instances, what'll happen too is that there will be a combination of maybe the buyer coming in with some money, maybe the seller coming in with some money, and if you're getting any sort of closing costs in your transaction, they're gonna remove that. in lieu of any sort of other credit in order to come up with this difference. So there's a number of ways that the deal can be structured. Again, if there's closing costs, maybe the buyer and seller are willing to meet halfway and again, satisfy that $25,000 difference. The last option, if it hasn't been addressed yet, you walk away from the deal. If you and the seller can't come to an agreement with price, buyers will walk away from the deal. Now, the thing to remember when you walk away from the deal is that if there wasn't, obviously there was an appraisal done, so you paid for the appraisal, you're not gonna get reimbursed for that. So that is an expense that you have to be willing to take on. Your interest rate that maybe that you locked on this property, you're not locked anymore. That rate is tied to that specific home. I had a client that backed out of a deal a couple of months ago when we were in the twos. She thought she was still gonna get the twos. I said, no, your rate died with that property. Now that you canceled that home and you're shopping for a new property, you're subject to whatever the market rate is. So something to take into account, right? If you have a really good interest rate, are you gonna walk away from that? Because now if rates go up, you're gonna be subject to the higher rate. So something to definitely keep in mind. So what we're seeing in today's market is a lot of agents are hard pressing their clients up front to make kind of this decision up front, knowing that, hey, you're willing to overpay for the home, maybe by X amount of dollars, or they're gonna put that in an addendum up front or in a counter offer. So if you are a buyer, make sure you understand what you're getting into. I know when you buy a house, it gets a little emotional, especially now that the market is so crazy. You're looking at, you might have submitted 10 offers. They all got rejected. You think this is the house, you get excited and you're just signing. You're not understanding what you're getting into. Understand that, because once you get into the transaction and we as the lender, we start breaking down some of these numbers to you, especially if the appraisal comes in short or you already agreed to pay more than the appraised value up front, you gotta be aware of that, right? Like I had another scenario here. So, scenario number 2, I just had this happen the other week. The buyer was willing to pay $2,500 above appraised value. No matter what it comes in at, they're willing to pay that in order to move forward. So same thing, sales price $400K. This house actually came in short as well. So let's say, I think the number was, let's just say $390. That's our appraised value. Okay. So again, as the lender, this is a number that we're looking at, the $390. But in this instance, this specific buyer has automatically said, I'm willing to pay $2,500 above the appraised value, right? So we're gonna automatically add that $2,500. So now we're at $392.5. And then we're still short our $7,500. So now this is the number that has to be addressed between the agents or you as the buyer. Again, even though you said you're willing to come in with this amount, are you gonna be willing to pay an extra $7,500? Are you getting closing costs that maybe you're gonna be willing to forego? Or is the seller gonna maybe meet you in the middle? So understand how these numbers work, because I get a lot of clients. This guy specifically, when that appraisal came in short and we sent him his updated closing cost statement, he was like, why is there an extra $3,000 there? He's like, well, you signed the addendum saying that you're willing to pay the extra $3,000. So then it took him a minute to realize, like, wait, did I sign that? Is that what it meant? So some of these things, if you have questions, ask your agent. Don't rush into signing the paperwork. And I know there's this kind of frantic feeling right now of buying a house and getting things done super fast, but take a minute, make sure you understand the numbers. If you're working with a lender, which you should be because you're qualified and you're shopping for a home, get your lender involved, right? Hey, I'm writing an offer at $400,000. The agent thinks it's gonna come in short. What does the numbers look like for me? How much more money am I gonna have to come to close with? Are you gonna be okay with that? Don't get the offer accepted and then try to figure out your numbers. You're going backwards with this whole thing. That's where we, as your lending partner, we're here to help you. But the only way we can help you is if you communicate with us and let us know that, hey, I got a house I'm really interested in, let's run the numbers. So again, guys, I know the market's crazy out there. I'm seeing it every single day, but don't rush into the deal, not understanding the appraisal process, not understanding what you're signing. If you have questions, don't hesitate to reach out to us. Here's my contact info in this video. You can always drop some comments. If you guys have something specific, you can always send me an email, text. I'm here to help you guys out, understand the process, make sure you're getting a good deal on your home, and how to navigate the appraisal process. We're here for you guys. So thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one.